All right. Good morning, everybody. How are you? It is April 2nd, 10:07, Tuesday, 2024. And I'm so happy that you're tuned in. This is What's Good Denver, a weekly celebration of culture and discovery. Fun stuff to do in Denver for kids, couples, singles, and old timers. I want to give a special shout out to Riley for holding it down last week. I was on spring break and I definitely enjoyed the R&R. Thanks for being on the show. I listened to it. It was awesome. My name is Ryan Estes. I'm with Tom, the ramen influencer, Donahue, and the Caitlin Clark of podcasting, Troy Higgins. What's up, guys?
What's going on? Good to have you back, Ryan.
Thanks, man. Dude, so we haven't talked about that TikTok. That was absolutely insane. Troy made an edit of Tom's ramen presentation, the Ramen Fest, and it went absolutely nuclear.
Yeah, I wish
It
I could
really did.
understand these algorithms and how they work, but I'm convinced it's random at this point because it just started taking off. And I think it's at like 230 something thousand views. It translated into like over 2,500 organic followers, some business inquiries, and yeah, Tom's pretty much he's famous now. So
I'm the ramen guy now.
yeah.
I'll
Tom's a
accept it.
ramen guy.
I've always been a ramen guy, so I've always been a little ramen influencer myself, and I'm feeling proud. Feeling
Yeah.
proud that the people are starting to take notice.
Yeah.
Well, and apparently, like ramen is incredibly popular, and like they didn't do like a great job like marketing the event because there was great demand. I mean, incredible. Like people were sharing it, people were saving it to their account,
Mhm.
and it's got to be a accumulation of that. Like people tuned in, they're like, "Wait, ramen festival," and so like
That's
the
the
saves
thing.
and shares and all the comments, and it was
That
it was really cool. It was fun to watch.
that
Yeah,
was the thing. Yeah. Sorry,
they
Troy. I was gonna say nobody knew.
Yeah, nobody knew about it at all.
it was funny. Half the comments were like, "This was yesterday," and like, people tuning in late.
Yeah.
Um, the Denver Ramen Festival folks actually reached out and they were appreciative of that we shared it, and that was cool to hear from them.
That's super cool. And this is we got a ton of followers on TikTok. And so I'm sure some of those people matriculated over to the podcast, and just for the new folks that are on the podcast, this show really it's a celebration of culture and events. Like we want to have fun and we want to like just big up what's happening in Denver. So like if you guys have events and you have things that you want to let people know about, let us know. We're happy to like to sponsor stuff, or I mean not even sponsor, but just get people going there just for the sake of like goodwill and good deeds. That's what this show is all about. So for the new folks that are joining the podcast, welcome. We appreciate you from TikTok. And Troy, man, well done, sir. Troy's been like just killing it with all these edits, and boom, that one just hit. So cool to see.
Yeah,
It is.
absolutely. It's a slow burn for sure. That's the thing with the social media game. You got to stay very consistent. That's what it is. It's the long game. It's not the blow up overnight. It's the long game.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But I think that's kind of what's exciting though about TikTok as a platform, because you don't see that on Instagram and you don't see that on YouTube. Like their algorithm seems to like favor virality like that and kind of create those moments,
Mhm.
which is really cool because when you're starting off, it's hard to be consistent, like posting when you're like, well, I got 72 looks on that one,
Mhm.
Hmm.
but when there's the chance that like, man, 250,000 people are going to see this, it's really cool.
Yeah. Also, I think it's smart on TikTok's part in terms of driving engagement, not only from the audience but from the content creators, because if they're throwing you a bone every once in a while, they're letting one of your videos hit the algorithm, get a couple 100,000 plays. That's a real good way to keep you posting, staying in the app. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
there,
absolutely.
I have some theories on that, but we'll save that for another day. I'm also
It,
hoping TikTok isn't banned in the US, and then our ramen video will never be seen again.
I
yeah.
know. Seriously, man.
Yeah.
They'll
But
figure
Man, yeah,
something out.
I think they learned that from like slot machines. Like the worst thing that could possibly happen is you win on a slot machine
hmm
because you're going to be chasing that dragon ever after.
Oh,
hmm Yeah, they got me hooked. They got me hooked now.
I know. I felt so bad. Like we went to Miami last year with my family to go see my brother, and we just had a layover in Vegas, and I was just like, "Why don't you gamble?" I'm like, I'm not really a gambler. My son, and he was like, Dad. I was like, all right, fine. I'll show you what happens. I'm gonna put 20 bucks in this machine. It's gonna be gone in 2 seconds. So literally we walked over. I was like, point at the machine. He pointed at, I sat down. I put 20 bucks in there. Bam, I won 180 bucks on the,
Yeah,
Of
of
course.
course. They
and
were
he was
watching
going
on
down,
the screen.
and I cashed out. He was like, that's great. I was like, no, Ozzo, don't bring the dopamine down, dude. Do not associate this with
Yeah, that's
gambling.
of
This is where you
course.
have to be strong and leave.
Yeah. Like we just take our winnings, and it was literally sat down, one thing, took the money out.
Trying to teach your
Mhm.
son a very valuable lesson, and the gamblers, they have it all figured out. They're doing everything they can to.
Nice. I do want to take a moment before we get into this to just tip my hat to Caitlin Clark. Did you guys watch that game yesterday?
Yeah, it was incredible. I was like blown away. It was just absurd. 9 threes.
Dude, from way back, man. She's shooting further back than Steph. I mean,
What she's doing for the entire sport of women's basketball is it's one of the most impactful. She's one of the most single-handedly impactful figures I think we've seen in recent history. That's in terms of change, like actually changing a sport and pushing it to places it's never been. I was blown away. It was just incredible. And
totally agree.
what she's going to bring to the WNBA and the sport of women's basketball is just, it's amazing. It's so awesome to see.
I love it. It's like the Ronda Rousey moment, in the UFC, they're like, we're never going to have a women's division. And then you had this dynamic person that came through and was just running through everybody. And then it just blew up. And everyone was
Mhm.
like, oh, yeah, women's MMA is awesome. The same thing is happening with women's basketball, which I'm so excited about because I love women's basketball.
Mhm.
It's a totally different game in a lot of ways more pure to the essence of basketball, like really strong passing, really good defense, like it's shooting, of course. It's a really fun game to watch, and she is absolutely just going to blow it up. I mean, that game was just staggering because LSU was a squad too. I mean, that great
Mm.
team, great basketball game. It's so cool to see that happen.
Yeah, I was texting in one of the kind of like sports group chats I'm in yesterday, and I was like, this game is honestly some of the best sports entertainment I've seen in a long time. Like it was like I felt
Mm.
like if the competitive energy there, like it was electric. It was amazing to watch.
So good, so good. It's amazing. It was great. And I mean, I've been spoiled watching the Nuggets all season. So like you watching a lot of good basketball. I was like, dude, this is on par with
Mhm.
the level. I mean, they're good. That was the championship. We'll see how by the margin that they win all these other games, but I'm guessing it's gonna be at least 20, you
Mm.
know.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
So cool.
yeah.
Nice.
Competitiveness there was insane. I feel like it's like, watching the NBA, especially regular season, it's like, a lot of nights guys sit out, a lot of nights it's like it looks like there's about 60 to 70% effort going on, and like, yeah, it was great to watch an event where every single person on the floor is giving 120% of their all to compete. It was great.
Best. It's the
Yeah.
best. Yeah, NBA, they're not really breaking a sweat till January. They're
Mhm.
just like, hey,
No.
let's not get carried away.
Yeah. Same thing with baseball too.
Yeah, baseball.
Mhm.
We'll get into that. That's on my events for this week. All right. Today's feature is spring cleaning. As the best mental health mindfulness practices to declutter our minds and physical space. Start the new season with clarity and focus. I love this feature. To follow the show, please go to kitcaster.com/Denver. Subscribe to on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, TikTok, Instagram, and Troy, am I missing anything?
Nope. YouTube, you got YouTube?
And YouTube. Yeah.
YouTube.
All right.
YouTube. And our music is always by Troy Higgins. All right, Tom, let's jump into events, buddy. What do you got on tap?
All right, let's get it. I put one in here for you, Ryan, to start off. Let me make sure that our people can see what we got going on over here. It's the Mile High Hunt and Fish Expo.
Sick.
Yes. Hold on a second. I need to make sure the crowd can see this. There we go. All right. Mile High Hunt and Fish Expo 2024. It's going to be over at the Gaylord. So we've been at a conference at the Gaylord before, and we know.
I love it, man. This is the time to think about it because I think tags are due mid-April, I believe. So, and the waters are amazing. I spent last week scouting a bunch of different spots. I'm going to mix up my first season hunt. I think I'm going southwest to Durango area. So I've been doing a lot of that, and all the rivers we passed look amazing. Animus looks great. Like, I mean, the waters, it's before runoff. So we have this period while we got some good weather. So yeah, that's a great event. You can go down there. I know you can get your fishing license down there, get some new patterns. Let's go.
Every night. I said only every night. Yeah.
Is that whoa? That's insane.
Big bread guy. Somebody's
Dude,
got to go check out that starter class.
listening to you talk about bread was the most satisfying thing that's happened to me in a long time. As bread is my absolute favorite, but I can't do it anymore. I have
I
like this.
know. I'm
It's
sorry.
so cruel. But I want to give a shout out to Nan. This is good. So you can jump on her starter bandwagon. I mean, I'm checking out her website here. She does have some interesting terminology. I don't know if you guys check this out, but at the top it says butt nuggets are in. And
Butt nuggets are in.
I'm
yeah,
Dang.
butt nuggets are. But I clicked on it. It just means eggs. She's got like an urban farm, and like she's got eggs, but
there we
she
go.
calls them fresh butt nugget. That's kind of disgusting.
Yeah, I mean,
Wow.
hey, it is what it is, I guess.
They are butt
3
nuggets.
half dozen. That's not a bad price.
Yeah.
Protein packed butt nuggets.
It does say here coffee, tea, and sourdough discard cookies will be provided. Sourdough discard cookies. That sounds interesting.
That's
Yeah,
probably
she
the
needs some help on the marketing.
sourdough discard. Yeah, I don't know if you want to.
Discard.
You might not
Yeah,
want to say it like that.
why are we discarding it?
Yeah, come on.
We're gonna keep up with Nan and help her out with the next couple events. We're gonna talk about them on the show, and we are gonna maybe send her a message about some phrasing that she could use, different
Yeah.
wordings.
Beautiful website though. It looks really cool.
Yeah, so that's the sourdough starter class, and then you guys thought it would never come back, but guess what season it is?
Let's go.
Don't tell me.
It's got to be base, right? The base kids have been inside. They're dying. They're dying for base. Of course.
I'm going base. Oh,
That's
nice.
those are the events that I got today. Welcome back to Red Rock season. We got
No.
we got shows every week for the next how many months? 6 months maybe, 7, 8 months.
It's amazing. It's amazing. It seemed so far away, but now here we are. It's spring and Red Rocks is blooming. We got to give a shout out to upcoming event 420. We'll be talking about that a lot in the next couple of weeks. I've got some certain things to say about that, but they got Wiz Khalifa and Flatbush Zombies for 420 at Red Rocks, which seems highly appropriate.
Nice.
I can't
Nice.
believe there wasn't a single mention. Actually, no, you know what? I think we're gonna talk about it. So never mind. I won't say it yet.
All right. All right.
Nice. Okay, I'll jump in here with mine. Rockies. We can feign excitement for the Rockies, but what we're really excited about is baseball. Baseball's back. How can I start the season trashing the Rockies? I'm not going to do it. What I'm going to do is sacrilege, but I'm going to be a Dodgers fan this year. You know, why not? Then I can appreciate the Rockies from afar. Troy, are you a Dodgers fan?
I'm a Padres fan.
Oh,
So
that's right. That's right. You're a
yeah.
Padres fan.
Yeah.
Well, maybe I'm going to hop ship and be a Padres fan. I wanted to join the Dodgers train because it sure seems like they're going to be world beaters this year, but I don't want us to be at odds any longer. We have this divisionary rivals, and you have to listen to my trash talk way too much. Maybe I'm just going Padres this year.
Do it.
All right.
I will warn you, they're probably just as equally frustrating of a team to root for as the Rockies. They, they're like, they'll win a game, they'll score like 13 runs and blow someone out, and then the next game they'll play like the Cardinals and lose like 6-1. Like it's just like there's no consistency. It's just it's up and down all year. That's how it's gonna be.
Yeah, I'm just riding this high of the Nuggets and the Avalanche. You know that I've kind of healed from the Broncos season a little bit. You know, and now coming to the Rockies season, I want to keep this momentum, this championship momentum going. I mean, I know we're gonna have Nuggets till June or whatever, but we're all excited about going to the Rockies game because it has to be possibly the best ballpark in the country. Coors Field is absolutely amazing. And to kick things off, there's game day on the block, April 5th for opening day. Opening day, of course, is April 5th. But before that, at the Dairy Block, they've got a whole bunch of fun events. That place is just, it has permeates sports energy whenever you're down there. I love the little green they have and the big screen. So that seems like a lot of fun to go do and celebrate the return of the Colorado Rockies. I've got the Rocky Mountain Train Show, spring edition. This is at the National Western Stock Show Complex, which is April 6th and 7th. And if you're looking for something to do with trains, I mean, this is a perfect event if you've got kids and if you have your nanas and papas. You know what I mean? Trains is where we generationally all come together and admire the majesty of the train. Why are trains so awesome? I have no idea, but there's just something inherently awesome about trains.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we got the Forney Museum, I think it's called, which is like kind of out there by Golden, which is cool. I've talked about it before again, because like, I don't know, every couple of years, you just got to go stand there and be like, wow, trains are cool. So that's coming. That's on the 6th and 7th. We've got First Friday, this Friday, of course. I put here featured in Rhino. Rhino's a great place. Of course, South Broadway is probably my favorite spot, especially when they block off Broadway, or I'm sorry, Santa Fe, and then kind of everything spills out into the road, which I think they are doing. And there's also smaller kind of First Friday celebrations over on Tennyson and on Lowell. But just a reminder for everyone that it's First Friday. Go check this out. I put in here a Red Rocks because this one was for you, Tom. I saw the same thing. I was like, oh, Red Rocks is back.
Oh, I see. You got
Plus
the one I
yoga.
was thinking. Yeah. You can do it
Plus
if you want.
yoga.
I saved it for the mindfulness feature. So
Oh, cool.
you can
Okay,
you can
cool.
go if you want though. Go for it.
No, and I'd love to hear what you have to say about this. It looks really cool. It's called the Daybreaker Peace Tour, and it's a morning event, which sounds like it's live music, yoga, and a theatrical performance. I don't really know what it
Yeah.
is. It
Yeah.
says, "Welcome our 10-year peace." Are you familiar with this promotion?
They do this every year, I think. So I've never been to it. And I know that there is going to be some breath work, some yoga activities, probably some meditation stuff going on, and they're going to have some music and some dance parties and stuff too. So um, it it seems like a good way to kickstart that spring, just like we're thinking for our feature. We kickstart with some fresh perspective, some nice mindfulness, some meditation practices, if you so please, because it's going to be a fully guided thing, and it's Sunday at 9 a.m. So get right up out there, Red Rocks in the morning. Um, I hope it's warm for them because I feel like if you're doing this kind of thing, you want a perfect temperature. I feel like early April might be a little bit, you know, up in the air.
Yeah. And Red Rocks Plus Yoga might be the first plus yoga in Denver that started. As they've been doing yoga at Red Rocks for some time. So, of course, we're fans of everything plus yoga. This is the OG. That's a good opportunity to do it on Sunday morning.
I was about to have a mental breakdown if one of you guys didn't mention yoga plus in the events. Yeah. Save it, Ryan.
We got you, Troy.
Yeah. Yeah. All right.
Nice. My next event is actually not available in Denver at all. And I figured this is as good of a chance to take a road trip as any, largely from the firsthand testimonial from Tom here. What's happening on April 8th is there's a full solar eclipse that's going to hit a good portion of it's kind of East Texas and kind of all the way up the Appalachians. And I think it's the last time it's going to happen in our lifetime that in America we'll have an opportunity to see a full solar eclipse. Now, I've never seen one, so I was kind of like, I've seen partial solar eclipse. They're cool, whatever. But Tom was telling me about the eerie nature and kind of sold me on the idea. This is my sister's birthday on April 8th, and she lives in Tulsa, and I kind of feel like it might be worth the road trip. I mean, I haven't done the math yet, but it sounds incredible. Tom, talk a little bit about that experience you were telling me about with the eclipse.
Yeah.
Is it OBS or is it Zoom? Classic AirPod connection. Talk.
Thanks a lot.
Hello, hello. There we go. All right. Sorry about that. I think my voice got cut out from OBS there. But so I went to total solar eclipse back in, it must have been 2018, I think. It was either 2017 or 2018. It was my last year of college. And there was a total solar eclipse that came basically down from Seattle and then went through the US and then came out somewhere around South Carolina, I think. This year is going to come up through Texas and then go out through Erie, Pennsylvania, over at our boy Sean's house. So it's going to be almost creating an X with that last total solar eclipse. But there was another solar eclipse a couple months ago, but that was not a total solar eclipse. So keep in mind that this is the ultimate solar eclipse that is going to happen on April 8th, 6 days from now. Me and some homies, we drove up to Wyoming to catch it. We're right on I-25 looking into, the distance. We got mountains way in the distance on one side of us and plains way in the distance on the other side of us. We found a nice elevated spot, and I'll tell you that it was definitely the craziest thing I've ever experienced in my life. The, People used to think the world was ending back in the day when this just so happened to happen to them. So, essentially, what a total solar eclipse does is the moon's close enough to the Earth at this given time to completely cover up the sun, and you can actually look directly at the sun without any sort of eye protection or anything like that, because what you get when the moon completely blocks it is just like this like light corona around the moon, where like the light from the sun is just kind of surrounding the moon essentially. And you also get these little beads that form around the moon, because it's such like a perfectly um, tight fit that you can you don't see the sun directly, but you can see the solar flares happening around the sun. So you're looking, the moon's completely blocking it, and you see these little beads like popping off around the moon because solar flares are happening around it, right? Those are called something's beads, whatever guy discovered it. Here's the map right here so that everybody can see. It has the original one in 2017 that went this way, and this is this year's one. This one is much bigger and longer. I think the one that I saw lasted around like 2.5 minutes. This one's gonna go like 4 minutes and 45 seconds in some places. So,
Cool. Weren't you saying the stars come out and stuff?
oh, absolutely. So in that couple minutes of like complete totality, it's the middle of the day. It gets completely dark outside. Um, the the stars come out. The temperature dropped like 30 degrees in the matter of like 10 seconds. Um, Animals are freaking out. Like the animals have no idea what's going on. They're just like not wired for this. And yeah, I mean, it's just a really breathtaking experience. Like you've never seen anything like it. All these astronomers and scientists and whoever, they call it the ultimate show of the cosmos. This this type of eclipse. So here's a little look at what you might see right down here with those solar flares. But yeah, I mean, if you can somehow get on that path, and it's very important that you are on the path. If you're outside the path, you can use those glasses and see. Um, you can look at it, but really, like to you, if you just look at the sun, it's one, it's gonna hurt your eyes. Don't hurt your eyes, and two, you're not really gonna see anything if you're not on this path. But if you are on the path, you use your glasses for most of the time, and then once it's completely covered, you'll know it. Like you'll know when you can take your glasses off. But if it's a completely different experience whether you're on that path or not, and man, it's crazy. It's one of the coolest things you could ever possibly see in your life.
Dude, and it's not happening in Denver. So, hey, road trip.
Can you
Let's go.
can you still see it partially, or is it like not visible at all?
If you're not on, I think like pretty much almost all of America is going to be able to see like it partially. You have to wear glasses to see it. If you don't have glasses, you're gonna hurt your eyes, and two, the sun's just too bright to see anything when it's not completely blocked. So, um, man,
Yeah.
I'm even inclined to make the trip, even though I saw it once. It makes me want to see it that much more again. So, I don't know. I might make some last minute accommodations as well to catch this.
Yeah.
This is a
Super
big one.
impulse. It's like, dude, road trip, drive 4 minutes, bounce right back.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a long way to go for a couple minutes, but it will be the single most craziest thing you ever see in your life. I can guarantee that.
Amazing.
Incredible.
All right, let's jump into our feature, guys. And our feature is spring cleaning. These are mental health and mindfulness practices that that declutter our mind and physical space. Troy, let's start with you, buddy. What do you got as far as like spring cleaning?
Yeah, absolutely. I have a couple of different things that I think I was actually just talking about this yesterday, but a couple of different things that I think are important to kind of declutter your mind. More your mind. Specifically with, we know how much our physical and mental clarity and health are related. And One of the things that I try to always stay conscious of is, I think you've talked about this before too, Ryan, but just meeting the essential needs that your body was programmed to, um, just that it needs to survive. Like it'll be sometimes 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm like, why do I feel brain fog, or why am I not feeling great? Why do I feel tired? Oh, all I've had today is a coffee and a granola bar, and it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I think um, very important, to just make sure that your body's getting these essential things you need every day, which is, rest, the proper nutrients, proper diet, staying hydrated, and all these things keep you in that space of mental clarity, and positive physical health, which is just, I think, at spring cleaning times, it's a good reminder to just step back and, prioritize your health, pay attention to the way you feel. And oftentimes, I think with all this plethora of information we have available, online, it's really easy to look up at Google, why am I having a slight headache? And you get a long list of explanations where you can draw conclusions from all these possibilities. But I feel like oftentimes, more than not, at least the way I feel, is like it's something as simple as just making sure you're eating right and staying hydrated, have a healthy sleep cycle, and just feeling great, mentally. And also, I think just keeping your space clean, staying organized, keeping your space, um, organized and styled in a way that inspires creativity, inspires ambition, and somewhere you want to wake up every morning and feel good when you get out of bed, and feel motivated, not have to look around, look at clutter and mess and dirt and things that are going to slow you down and make you not feel 100%. And
Totally. Do you have like a certain tasks or rules or rituals that you do to kind of make sure that you're fulfilling your basic human needs?
see, that's the thing. I think I have this tendency of forgetting to fulfill these basic needs, and thinking about this topic is kind of a reminder for myself, and hopefully others listening to this, that it's important to take care of the bare necessities, like you said, we're not programmed to be staring at screens 12 hours a day. We need nutrients, we need exercise, we need sleep. And I think these things are just so easily overlooked when at the end of the day, it's the most important thing. And I'm personally guilty of being the one who, it's 1 o'clock and all I've had is a coffee and a granola bar. So I want to make sure um, that I'm keeping keeping up with good practice, and eating clean, eating the right nutrients, staying hydrated, getting sleep. And I think those are all kind of things that tie into spring cleaning and decluttering your mind.
I love it, man. I'll piggyback on that a little bit. I think our culture's come a long way as far as mental health. And like we really give it a strong consideration now. And I think maybe we've actually exaggerated in some instances when we're talking about mental health as far as severity. And I want to be respectful of anybody who's like fighting some mental health stuff. But generally speaking, you've got anxiety, you've got stress, and you've got depression in some sort of delta that everyone's kind of perusing through. In non-clinical, non-pathological kind of areas of these three things, these are mood disorders, and when you think that like I am mentally ill, that might be a little severe. For me, it's more productive to say like these are mood disorders. So do I, how can I keep track of my moods? Well, and I think this comes down to what you're talking about, Troy, which is like essentials. Is there something wrong with my mental health, or am I not sleeping enough? Am I not eating or drinking enough water in the afternoon? These things we know influence our moods. Am I not exercising enough? We know that when we break a sweat, we're going to feel good. We know that if you peel a mango and eat it, you're going to feel great. It changes your mood. So I think that's really smart. And it's a good time now as like the is warming up and we're seeing the bulbs bloom. It's a great time to kind of focus on essentials.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, it's with the availability of just so much information out there and overconsumption of stuff on a day-to-day basis. I feel like it's really easy to draw these distant, uh, you know, possibilities of for reasons why you're feeling a certain way when oftentimes at least in my experience, I feel like the answer is just something as plain and simple as, like you said, going to bed earlier the night before, or, different things like that. So it's just something to consider.
Cool. Tom, how about you, buddy? What do you got for spring cleaning?
Um, for me, I've dabbled in your yogas, I've dabbled in your meditations and stuff, and I love that stuff, but it's oftentimes hard for me to commit to them or stay committed to them. So, I mean, the one thing that is always there for me, though, is recreation through sports or activities that, require your full undivided attention. And whether that's like a sport that you want to do, or, you know, for me, it's like more action-packed sports like spring day up at Copper, snowboarding. Um, if I'm worried about something else and not clearing my mind and not being present in the moment, I'm gonna eat it. Like when you got 40-foot jumps at Copper and you're just trying to like get in the air and go weightless for a little bit, you can't be stressed about work, or you can't be thinking about those other problems that you have. And for me, that's always been a good way. Those recreation activities that require my full undivided attention to kind of decompress a little bit. Um, and allow your mind to kind of escape whatever stresses are happening in the real world. So, I mean, that's one thing that I've always looked at as a good way to kind of reset. Around this time of year, especially when it's the most beautiful outside and you can get out there. You could, for some people, even it's like golf. Like if you aren't completely focusing on what you're doing, you're gonna shank that ball. It's gonna go nowhere near the hole. For other people, it might be rollerblading or, riding your bike around the town. I think there's just something about those um, types of, high focus physical activities that really help me do a good reset. Um, so, I mean, I don't know if you guys have any in your mind that I might have missed, but th those are the types of things that really help me reset the most. And then also, I like your yoga stuff, and I try to stay committed with meditation, but I always really fall off pretty quickly with that stuff. Um, the
No,
activities are what I stick to.
I really like that, soothing recreation is how you phrase that, which I love that,
Yes.
man. Um, I think similarly to you, like the kind of more extreme stuff like hot yoga, jujitsu, snowboarding, these kind of things that like you completely are one in the moment because you have to be, because it's kind of like a little bit life and death,
Hmm.
are really important. Now, one thing that I kind of found is like a couple years ago, I was injured and I couldn't do any of that stuff. And being kind of an active Colorado type person, like, that kind of sunk me into some mood disorders, we'll call it.
Yeah.
And so I started looking for answers. And one thing I found that was helpful that didn't require like excess, it didn't require the extreme part of the spectrum, was just walking and kind of breathing, kind of like what you were talking about, some breathing exercises. And there's just a whole vast array of different ways you can focus your breathing. But for me, it was like 8 steps in on the in breath, 8 steps out on the out breath, and just really focusing on that. So, and just walking around the park, and a couple of things happen. I mean, to your point, like you get that soothing recreation where you're focused in the moment and you kind of bring that, but also you kind of
Mm.
hyper oxygenate your body, which actually creates kind of a high sensation, not a high and like a stone sensation, but like literally like you feel great,
Hmm.
you know? So I think those are great recommendations. What are some of your other recreations you got going, Tom? I know you're a man of recreation.
I mean, I'm grounded from gymnastics right now because the back situation, that thing that I've been dealing with at PT. So I mean, I used to love. I'm a big trampoline guy. Like, and I'm not talking about your backyard tramp. I'm talking about like your serious trampolines that you can only get on in certain places. Um, Love that. I mean, you know, hiking's always great. I'm not always the first person to suggest a hike, but I'm always down to go on it. I know that's huge for a lot of people hiking. I've recently started doing like mountain biking because that's kind of similar to the snowboarding for me, where it's like I'm trying to be on the trails where if I'm not focused, I'm messing up. Like it's another one of those things for me, which is high focus. Can't think about anything else, and that's honestly what I'm looking for through these types of activities. Um, Not in Denver, surfing's an amazing one too, but Troy, you're more in the surf zone for that kind of stuff. What else do they got? I mean, there's something for everybody. Even that walking technique, 8 steps in, 8 steps out, like that that's something that could eventually, after a few minutes of you focusing on it, completely take your mind off anything else. Um, I think for me that those things take a lot of discipline, but when you step up the action and the risk factor a little bit, it takes a little bit less discipline because you need to focus. you know, like with me in my mind, if I'm doing 8 steps in, 8 steps out walking at the park, my mind's probably going to wander because I'm not going to, fall off a cliff if I stop paying attention.
Totally.
You know,
And Troy, I know you got a boogie in 2 minutes. If you just throw up the deuces when you got to go, don't feel bad about it at all.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Got to hop out of here a little early. But yeah, piggybacking off what you said, Tom, I think whether it's a physical recreation or anything else, it's like great to just kind of lock into something that just you're totally immersed in and you kind of forget about everything else going on. For me, that's just anything creative. If I'm working on
Mm.
any sort of creative project, whether it's music or video or art or whatever, it's like when you're in that moment working on it, you can totally just block out all of the other things in your life that might be on your head or taxing you or you're stressed about. And I think it's important to have that time where you can kind of just isolate your brain for a little bit and just take a deep breath and declutter your mind. And there's different ways everyone has where they can do that or experience that.
Totally agree. Nice. I picked a couple of things coming out of the winter. I always feel a little bit lonely. Like I just feel like disconnected. I'm a social person. I'm also like I really recharge alone. I love to be it by myself, but I start to feel this kind of loneliness. And so I realize some of that is just seasonal, and some of that is in my hands, and I can kind of control it. So a couple of things that I want to do. One that I'm going to do probably, I'm going to start this week. I'm going to use this as like a place of accountability, which is essentially I'll go through my phone and start scrolling back. And what you do when you do that is essentially you enter a time machine of people you haven't talked to in a long time. The more you scroll back, the longer it goes. And so what I'll do is kind of systematically find people I haven't communicated with in some time and send them a little text that would just be something like, "Hey, Troy, I hope you're doing great, man. Happy spring. No need to reply. I was just calling or just checking in to say hi." Something like that, where you're not necessarily going to send 20 texts like that, where now you feel compelled to make time for all those people. But it does just allow you to touch somebody real quick where they're like, "Oh, hey." And they're just like, "Cool. Yeah, I hope you're well." I find that to be like a great cure for that kind of sagging, lonely feeling,
mm,
that we all get. That is often an illusion, and it's often just a phantom of the season. In the winter, we all kind of hibernate down, and so as we're kind of waking up, we want to kind of wake up with it. And that to me is just a way to like kind of supercharge your day with some like positive energy by putting it out into the world. The other thing that I'm going to recommend too is just kind of taking a look at the media diet. Now, I stopped looking at news a long time ago. I got off social media a long time ago. Really, where I'm at now is pretty much Reddit. And Reddit is where I spend my scrolling hours. And I'll follow subs and unfollow subs all the time. Peace, Troy. Good to see you,
guys.
buddy.
later.
So what I'll do is, and then you accumulate all these subreddits that you're following. And a great feeling is to just start unsubscribing to the ones that don't serve you anymore. For me right now, it's combat footage. Like I cannot see any more of that
Yeah,
combat footage.
it could take over pretty easily. You like one thing, and then all of a sudden there's death on your feed every left and right.
Yeah. it's just like these Ukrainian battlefields of drones dropping grenades on people constantly. And it's just, it's very disturbing, as well it should be. So I'm going to make sure I unfollow all those. On top of that, I'm going to go into my inbox and I'm going to unsubscribe to 10 different things a day. It's unbelievable. Tom and I both live in an email-y ass world, and everyone I'm sure has an email address, maybe two. Once you get into like 4 or 5 email addresses, like the amount of newsletters and stuff that follow you is staggering. And oftentimes they're encouraging you for like unsavory spending habits, we'll say, you know.
Sure. That's
or
rough.
yeah, it's rough. And so, you know, there's a lot of oftentimes it's friends newsletters or colleagues newsletters, or it's these kind of things where you're like, if I unsubscribe, they're going to see me. And then you have this mental discourse with yourself. For the next 6 weeks, I'm giving myself absolute carte blanche to unsubscribe to everything I possibly can, just so when I wake up, I'm not looking at 47 emails, I'm looking at 6.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that goes. And then the last part is delete, particularly with apps. You know, the worst thing I've done is like putting like Depop on my phone, because now I'm looking for like these vintage Levi's jackets and all this stuff. And like, I don't need to be shopping from my phone.
No, the apps are just different gateways to spend time on the phone. You know, only the ones that you need are what should be on there. Utilities.
Yeah. And delete the updates, like the little bubbles that pop up on your phone. I'm pretty good. There's probably only like 2 or 3 apps that actually allow to basically message me, but I'm going to delete those as well, because it's unnerving. And I like to see like my kids' phones, you know, where they have messages from Snapchat and text messages like every 20 seconds, just like bing, 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 you know. I try and talk to them just like, you guys, this is not good. Like, you shouldn't have to be swiping up when you're trying to watch like a YouTube video or whatever constantly. So media diet, I think spring cleaning for me is going to be about reconnecting with old friends through text messages with no obligation on their end, and just cleaning out the old inboxes and messages.
I respect that. It's a good way to keep your mind clear, and also like even if you know that those 3 text messages, like the little red bubble or like the 10,000 ones on your Gmail and mail apps are nothing, it I think it subconsciously like sends your brain messages as you swipe past it and you see the red bubble and you're like, oh, there's something I gotta do, or there's something I missed. So I do think it's good to keep that stuff clear. Get rid of all the apps that you don't use. Stop digging around. I'm swiping back and forth just to find my notes app, which for me, my notes app is really important to the way I operate. Like, even though I actually deep down know where it is, I'm just looking back like, where is it? Where is it? Because there's too many apps on there.
Too many dang apps. Totally. Amazing. All right, Tom, should we wrap it, buddy?
Let's wrap it. Yeah, I think we had a good one.
Yeah, this is good podcast episode. Thank all of you listeners. Appreciate it, particularly the new ones. We go live on YouTube every Tuesday morning and usually publish on Tuesday afternoons. Generally speaking, what we're going to do is just feature stuff that you can do for the week and kind of probably the next couple of weeks at a glance. So definitely check out the show on Tuesday if you get the opportunity, and you'll kind of see what's going on in Denver for the rest of the week. Again, you can follow us at kitcaster.com/Denver. We can check What's Good Denver on Instagram, on TikTok, on YouTube, and Spotify, and everywhere else. Tom, I keep seeing like blurry orbs popping in and out.
I noticed that too. I don't know what it is. I think
it's not aliens, is it?
I don't know. I think is it like those thumbs up things? Yeah, it's that. The Zoom is blurring it though. That's what it was happening. I saw it. I was like, what is that?
Mine. Do I get it? I don't get it either. I still haven't figured out how to get those.
You gotta have the M1 chip.
Oh, it's the chip. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I was for a second. I was like, because I wasn't doing thumbs up, and I saw it going boop boop,
It's like boop, boop, boop.
and the blur was making it look a little interesting.
I
Did you
know.
see me look back like this? I was like,
Yeah,
what
I'm like, dude, is there ghosts? What is
seriously? Oh man.
nice? All right, Tom, man. Well, I hope
All
you
right,
enjoy Jersey when you coming back.
we'll be back tomorrow, or we'll be back late tonight, but we'll be back in the office tomorrow. So ready to be back
Killer.
in the studio for next week.
Yeah, buddy. All right, man.
All
Thank you
right,
very much. We'll talk to y'all later.